Hello, Incredible One. Welcome to the Incredible Factor Business Podcast, the place to be to grow a business that shakes the planet. I'm your host, business growth coach, Darnyelle J. Harmon. Join me each week for inspiring stories, powerful interviews, and business growth strategy to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. Oh, and one more thing. On this podcast, I'm going to keep it all the way real with you about the good, the bad, and the incredible of entrepreneurship. But don't worry, it's all for your good so that you can build a business that funds the life you crave. Let's jump into today's episode. Hello, Incredible One. Welcome back. Darnyelle here. Excited that you're joining me for another episode. This episode is powered by the Breakthrough Tour, which will be pulling into Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Delaware, and Chicago this March. To learn more about the Breakthrough Tour, visit breakthroughinbusinessevent.com/tour. All right. So it's time that I make another confession. For more than 75% of my life, I have struggled with comparing myself to others. I honestly think it goes all the way back to being a child. I'm one of 7 on my mom's side. My mom had 7 and my dad had 4, and they share 3. And even though my mom's twins, when she gave birth to when she was in jail, weren't raised by her, the amount of time and energy and comparison spent in my household was enough to drive me crazy. I mean, seriously, it jacked me all the way up. Not only were my parents always comparing us to one another, but they were also always creating an environment for us to question every step that we took. And I internalized it really, really bad. I mean, everywhere I went, I wanted to be like someone else. Like, I couldn't find joy and I couldn't find pride in who Darnyelle Antoinette was. I was always thinking about how I could be better, how I could be like, insert anyone's name that you can think of. I would be trying to be like them if I knew it, because there was something about my life as a child, as a young adult. I mean, literally up until maybe about 32, 33, and I'm 43. It's really been the last 10 years or so that I've really come into my own, and I've realized that I am brilliant and that I don't have to compare myself to others. But I assure you, I did not start that way. I've actually seen the need to compare myself to others show up everywhere. I can remember in my Mary Kay business. Now, I was in Mary Kay for about 7 years total. And when I first started Mary Kay, I was mediocre at best, to be perfectly honest with you. But there was something that the top sales directors in my national area, something that they had that I wanted. So I began to compare myself to them. And I can remember even saying, I'm going to be like, insert the name of a top director during that time. And other people either praising that person or trying to give me a reason to talk myself out of it. But I was convinced, I was dead set on finding a way to be like that person. And honestly, I believe the reason I became a top sales director was because I was trying to be someone else. Oh my gosh. I tell you, comparison is for the birds. It is so for the birds. It's the wrong answer. It's the wrong answer for so many reasons. First, because I lost myself trying to be someone I could never truly pull off. And secondly, it delayed me getting to know who I really was and what really made me tick and the difference that I could really make in the world. I'm literally sitting here right now with my head in my hand and shaking because I'm thinking back to the so many times over the last 10 and a half years in business that the comparison game has almost cost me everything. And the whole reason I wanted to do this episode was to not only be honest and share my story with you, but to help you to stop comparing yourself to others. I mean, I still remember an early conversation I had in my own business once I had started Incredible One Enterprises, when I was talking with a new colleague, and I didn't know her and she didn't know me. And, you know, one of the things that we do as women is we feel this need to posture up. One of the things that jacked me up when I was in Mary Kay was this whole fake it until you make it principle. And I hate it to this day. I really don't like it. And I know hate is a strong word, but I don't love it because it gives you the impression that it's okay to be something that you're not. And if you're like me and you internalize it, you'll struggle to believe that who you are in that moment is incredible. And I don't want that for you. But I literally remember feeling this need to posture up. And you know what I mean, right? Acting as if you're something that you're not, just so that you would be taken seriously, or they would think that you had it going on when really you were screaming on the inside for significance, or at least I was screaming on the inside for significance. And I still remember when Janice, that's the person I was having the conversation with, and I'm grateful for Janice because she's still my friend to this day. She did not let my asinine move stop her from getting to know the real me, although I truly postured up on her. And really, if it weren't for her heart, I would have ruined any opportunity to have such a good friend and colleague in her. But I remember her asking me to tell me a little bit about yourself. And, it's such a loaded question. And we get asked that question and we don't know where to start and we don't know what to say. And I can remember saying something like this, which was terrible. I said, well, do you know, insert the name of somebody who was more prominent in the marketplace at that time? Well, I'm like the Black version of her. Oh my gosh, my head is in my hand again as I think about the fact that I had the nerve, I had the audacity to confidently articulate that like that was a badge of honor. Comparison is for the birds. And the truth be told is that the person that I was comparing myself can't hold a candle to me now that I've risen up into the highest and best version of myself and I own my gifts and talents and I see myself for what I really am. But when I was hiding in fear, so afraid to step fully into my power, settling for the okie doke, I thought it was okay to compare myself to her. And I want you to hear me, Incredible One. I want you to hear me as I let you in on a little secret. And that is, when it comes to you and what you offer into this world, there is no one who does it better. I don't care what their marketing copy says. I don't care what they say when they're doing a video. I don't even care what their client testimonials say. There is no one who is better at bringing the transformation that you bring into the world. But you know what? It's one thing for me to say it and something else for you to believe it, to hold it firmly in your hands and to step boldly and flat-footed in it. And that is what I want for you. And I know we've all done it. We've all taken somebody else's something and tried to pass it off as our own. Like I said, when I started my business, I was trying to be just like someone else, a carbon copy of someone else. I studied their every move, or at least what I could see, right? And the problem is that it never felt good to me. And I know I looked like a fool, assuming that anyone even noticed me because I wasn't being authentic, right? I wasn't being who Darnyelle Antoinette was. I was being a phony, or I was trying to be what somebody else said I should be. And honestly, there is nothing incredible about that. And then, again, being honest, I'd be green when I would see people online. This is one of my problems with social media. I think that there are true merits to Facebook and social media, but everybody's out there trying to become Facebook famous. And when you're a person like me who struggles with comparison, you see what somebody else is posting, you take it to be the truth because you want to believe that people wouldn't lie. And then you find yourself getting caught up in their lies and thinking that there's something wrong with you. But I am here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you. And if you have struggled with the comparison monkey, know that comparison is for the birds, right? I can remember seeing people who weren't nearly as talented as I was experiencing what I prayed for, or at least them alleging that they were experiencing what I prayed for. And this is part of the reason why I was so stifled in my business in the early days. It's part of the reason why your business isn't where you want to be, because you're trying to be like someone else. Now, hear me, Incredible One. Knowing what your competitors are doing for market research purposes is one thing. But somehow, if you're anything like I was, I doubt that that's the reason why you're playing the comparison game. And so again, I tell you that comparison is for the birds. But acknowledgement is the first step. And I want you to literally repeat after me. Hi, my name is, insert your name, and I'm a comparaholic. Just saying it out loud, I hope, stirs up some emotion for you, just like it did for me when I first came to the startling realization that I didn't love myself. I mean, can I keep it real with you? Is it okay if I tell you my truth? That the reason I was comparing myself to other people, I was comparing my worst to their best, is because I didn't love myself, because I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think I was worthy of ever amounting to anything more. Those messages that were spoken over me as a child, right? I can remember being young, being 5, being 6, and hearing my mother, who was mad at my father, they were divorced by the time that I was 2, saying something as ugly as, you are just like you're no good, and internalizing it. Because when we're children, we take everything we hear in from birth through the age of 7. And those things that we take in become the tapes that we play over and over and over. And I can remember comparing myself, I remember as a new coach, building my website, not knowing what I didn't know and going to look at what other coaches were charging and charging their prices without understanding why they chose the price that they chose, or if they even know why they chose the price that they chose. Like, I was doing some work with clients the other day in our call, and the one client said, she was telling a story about a little girl who asked her mom why she cut the butt off of the ham before she put it in the pot. And the mom said, I don't know. And then so she said, ask grandma. So the little girl asked grandma, and grandma said, Grandma, why do you cut the butt off before you put it in the pot? And grandma said, well, back in my day, the pots weren't big enough to hold the ham with the butt. So you cut the butt off in order to be able to cook the pig, right? The pork. And I think about how that relates to us, and how when you suffer with comparison, you do things without even knowing the reason why you do them, because you don't think you're good enough. Hear me, incredible one. You are good enough. But you're going to have to first acknowledge that you need to stop comparing yourself to others, right? And I can remember when I first started to acknowledge it to myself and realizing that, I didn't believe in me. There were so many people who saw Darnyelle completely different than the way that I saw myself. And I'm grateful for those mirror moments, right? I'm grateful for those people who are willing enough to see your shine and acknowledge it, instead of trying to downplay it or stifle it or suffocate it and lead you to believe that there's something wrong with the way that you shine. And I can also remember finally coming face to face with who I am meant to be on this planet, and realizing that I was not created to be a carbon copy of someone else, but that I was created to stand out, to make waves, to shake the planet, right? And I was created to not look like anyone else. It was interesting how that one thought really started me on a journey to finding my voice, finding my truth, and how I began to use my truth in the marketplace. Right now, I'm going through the process of interviewing clients that have been working with me for multiple years, and you'll hear those client interviews and bonus episodes here on the podcast. And what I think is so amazing and eye-opening for me is that now that I've fully stepped in to who Darnyelle is, I can really see the difference that I make, and how all of those people that I used to compare myself to, man, comparison is for the birds. It's been an arduous process. It's been hard. It's been a lot of work, but I honestly wouldn't trade a thing, because had I not compared myself to other people, had I not understood my value and my worth, had I not gone through that experience thinking that there was something wrong with me, and then to have the startling realization and to see myself the way that God sees me, who knows where I would be. But I just want you to know, again, that comparison is for the birds. So I don't know who you're comparing yourself to, but I'm imploring you to stop it. I want you to stop it. I want you to stop being stifled by someone else, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what their journey entails. You haven't walked a mile in their shoes, and you don't know where they're getting whatever it is they're saying. They could be miserable, right? And here you are allowing yourself to see yourself as them instead of seeing yourself as you. The bottom line is this: you won't produce your true brilliance. You won't unleash your incredible factor until you fully rely on your gifts, talents, and the creator who gave them to you. Until you see your gifts, until you see your strengths, until you see your talents as the gifts that they have been given to you to give to the planet, and acknowledge God, get in connection with God for them, you won't be able to serve the world the way that you were born to serve the world. You won't transform. You will do nothing newsworthy. You won't change lives. And as long as you're trying to do what has already been done by someone else the same exact way that they've done it, you'll be stuck, you'll be broke, and you'll be broken. But it could change for you as soon as you decide to do something different. I love Emerson's quote. He says, once you decide, all of the universe rearranges itself to bring you what you decided. And I know that once you decide that you are worthy, once you start seeing yourself the way that God sees you, once you deepen your connection to the God that is on the inside of you, everything will begin to change from you. Once you step fully into your power, once you acknowledge all of the good that you are, while recognizing that, you know what, you're still a work in progress and there's still more to be done, but who you are in this moment is enough. You are enough. If no one has ever told you, you are enough, and comparison is for the birds. Okay, Darnyelle, I hear you. I'm going to stop comparing myself, but how in the world do I do it? Okay, so here are 5, maybe 7 things I recommend you do. Number 1, I want you to unplug from everything that isn't serving you. You've got to remove the distractions. When you are easily derailed from your purpose, you have got to remove the distractions so that you can focus on you, your gifts, and your business. You might need to spend less time on social media and more time connecting with people who are ready to hire you via traditional marketing strategies, right? You might need to only be on social media to check your inbox. You might need to use some of those wonderful tools out there that allow you to schedule without ever going on the social media. If you get caught up in comparing yourself to others and you see the person who technically does what you do and you immediately get green, you need to stop. You need to unplug from everything that isn't serving you. Second thing you need to do is you need to create an environment for quiet time to reflect, create, and affirm. This was so powerful for me. And I cannot tell you enough. Don't rush to start your day. I want you to ease into your day by spending at a minimum 20 focused minutes as soon as you wake up, setting intentions for yourself and for your day, for your life, for your business, for your marriage, for your health, for every area of your life. If you don't currently meditate, this could be a great practice to introduce yourself to so that you learn how to center yourself so that you can focus on you and not other people, so that you can bring into your experience first thing in the morning when you're still in your beta state and able to influence what your subconscious mind has to say about you. Bring in those examples of how grand and wonderful you are. Do you know, for years, I've kept what I call a wall of fame. And my wall of fame included copies of every book that I've ever written, articles that I've written, success stories from clients and testimonials. It was all of the things that talked about how great Darnyelle was. And you know why I kept it? Because I struggled with comparison. But I need you to know that comparison is for the birds. And so I would look at my wall of fame before, and starting my day, I would look at my wall of fame before I jumped on a sales conversation. I would look at my wall of fame before I applied for a speaking opportunity. I would look at my wall of fame consistently to be reminded about who I am, to affirm who Darnyelle is. And I highly recommend that you do the same thing. During this quiet time of reflection, creation, and affirmation, You've got to clarify your why. Why are you doing this? Why does it matter? Why should they care? They being your ideal clients. And you've got to focus on your strengths, your incredible factor. Focus on your hug, your signature business move, and your unique value proposition. Sidebar, if you have not listened to episode number 1, what exactly is the incredible factor? I'm going to implore you again to listen, and I want you to make sure that you go to incrediblefactorpodcast.com and download the Incredible Factor worksheet. That's my gift to you, because comparison is for the birds, and I want you to step fully into who you are and who you were created to be. The third thing you need to do to stop comparing yourself to others is to deal with your true fears. Now, I know you've heard the tired, but also very true cliche that fear is false evidence appearing as real, or as I like to say, fear fights every alternative to reality. But the fact of the matter is, fear is never going to go away. It was created by your ego to lead you to believe that where you are in that moment is your safe place. And I think we can be honest that most of the time you're not in your safe place. You're in your comfort zone. And your comfort zone will keep you from getting the significance that you've been craving in your life. So you're going to have to deal with your true fears. My true fear was rising up. It was the fear of success. It was never about failing, because I was always able to make things happen, but it was about success and the responsibility that might come along with being truly successful. And so I compared myself to others because it gave me an out from having to focus on me. And I believe that if your fear is in the way, you are comparing yourself to others because you don't believe in yourself. Your inner incredible snatcher was sent to negate all talent and confidence that has been earmarked and reserved for your success. That's what snatcher stands for. Your inner incredible snatcher will keep popping up until you face each fear, until you invalidate them and position yourself to no longer be held hostage by those fears. Now, you may need a coach who will help you to sift through your fears and create an action plan. That is quite possible. Next, you're going to have to spend more time in gratitude, because when you are grateful, you cannot be afraid. Gratitude and fear cannot occupy the same place. Gratitude is an abundance equalizer. When you are grateful, you are asking God to show you more examples of His grace in your life. It will lift you out of your funk. It will remove your need to compare yourself to others, and it will position you to add substantial value in every area that you possibly can for those that you've been called to serve. And you're going to have to put your blinders on. This one is big. This was big for me. I had to learn how to run my own race. Literally grab a pair of sunglasses. I'll wait. Grab a pair of sunglasses and 2 pieces of paper. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to thread a piece of paper on either side of the sunglasses. And what should happen when you put your glasses on is that you should now have a blind spot on either side of you. You shouldn't be able to look to the left or to the right. You should be forced to look straight ahead of you, because you know what? If you really want to kick comparison to the curb, you have got to look ahead of you. You've got to focus on you. It means you won't be able to see anything or anyone that could make you want to compare yourself to it. I know what a difference learning how not to compare myself to others has made in my life and in my business. And I know that it is possible that it could do something really powerful in yours as well. But it is going to require for you to rise up and realize that you, in this moment right now, are more than enough. You don't need to lose 1 pound. You don't need to gain 1 inch. You don't need different clothes. You don't need to live in a different house. You don't need anything about you to change. You are worthy. Because here's the thing. God did not have time to make a nobody. He only had time to create somebodies. And so the fact that you are listening to the sound of my voice right now tells me that you are somebody. You are incredible. In this moment, you are incredible. And comparison is for the birds. So I want you to work on these 5 steps. Number 1, unplug from everything that isn't serving you. Number 2, create an environment for quiet time to reflect, create, and affirm. Number 3, deal with your fears, your true fears. Number 4, spend more time in gratitude, remembering that when you are grateful, you cannot be afraid, and put your blinders on. When you focus on your incredible factor, I'm actually going to add one more in, deepen your connection with God, right? When you focus on your incredible factor and you realize just how grand and wonderful and amazing and incredible you are, and how when God made you, he was showing the world what incredible looked like, child, please. It will naturally want to lead you into the arms of God. When you deepen your connection to God so that you see yourself the way that he sees you, you will realize that there is no need for you to compare, and that comparison is truly for the birds. So I'm going to encourage you to step into relationship with God, to get to know him, to get a clear and firm understanding of the way he sees you. Because when you do, you won't be comparing yourself to anyone. You'll stop getting caught up and distracted and derailed from your destiny and your purpose and what you're here to do, because you'll know that's not for you. You'll be able to discern through your spirit, and you'll be able to leverage all of that goodness and that abundance and that positive energy to do what you were brought here to do in the first place, which compares to nothing else that anybody was brought here to do. I'm so excited for you and the possibility of you stopping comparing yourself like I did. And trust me, I know it's work, but it'll be so worth it in the end when you're able to finally look in the mirror and see yourself and only smile, loving every single inch of you, every flaw that is you, knowing that you are beautiful, you are magnificent, you are incredible, incredible one. There's nothing I want more for you than for you to realize that comparison is for the birds. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for joining me for the Incredible Factor Business Podcast. I'd love to help you grow a business that shakes the planet. Get started today by joining our exclusive community at sixfigurecashflowclub.com. And if you enjoyed our time together, do yourself a favor. Head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Until next time, you deserve a business that funds the life you crave. Take care.